True strength is not shown in words but in silence, and India's silence has been building weapons that speak louder than any speech. This is a principle that has guided the nation for decades, quietly shaping its defense capabilities, technological advancements, and strategic planning. While many countries announce their developments with fanfare, India has chosen a different path. The nation understands that true power does not require constant validation. It does not need applause or recognition. It simply exists, quietly growing, waiting for the moment when its impact cannot be ignored. Silence is the crucible in which India has forged its most formidable weapons, each a testament to discipline, foresight, and unyielding determination. For years, global powers underestimated India. They assumed that a country with limited resources and a history of colonial subjugation could not compete with established military giants. But history has shown that nations that move in quiet confidence often achieve the most unexpected victories. India has leveraged its silence strategically, focusing on research, innovation, and self-reliance while the world's attention was elsewhere. In laboratories and defense facilities across the country, engineers and scientists have worked tirelessly, creating technologies that combine precision, power, and ingenuity. These are not mere machines of war. They are statements of national identity and resilience, reflections of a culture that values patience, wisdom, and long-term vision. Silence does not mean inaction. On the contrary, India's quiet approach has allowed it to plan meticulously, innovate continuously, and execute strategies flawlessly. The development of missile systems, fighter jets, submarines, and advanced defense technologies has been carried out with discretion, ensuring that when these weapons are finally revealed, they carry both surprise and undeniable authority. The world has seen time and again that sudden breakthroughs often leave the unprepared stunned. This is the power of silence. It conceals preparation, amplifies impact, and leaves observers with no choice but to acknowledge its strength. Moreover, India's silent strength is rooted in self-reliance. Rather than depending solely on external assistance, the country has invested in indigenous research and manufacturing. This independence ensures that India's capabilities are not constrained by political pressures or foreign interests. Every missile, aircraft, and defense system is a product of domestic ingenuity, a manifestation of the nation's ability to protect itself and assert its position globally. This quiet confidence has allowed India to maintain strategic autonomy, striking a balance between defense readiness and diplomatic influence. Ultimately, silence is the loudest form of power. While others boast and claim, India has acted and delivered. The weapons it has built do not just serve defensive purposes. They narrate a story of persistence, vision, and courage. Each innovation is a testament to a philosophy that understands the value of restraint, planning, and execution. In a world dominated by noise, India's silence has become its most potent weapon. It is a reminder that true strength is measured not by the volume of words, but by the weight of actions. Through quiet determination, India has built weapons and a legacy that speak far louder than any speech ever could. The future of global defense is not in copying the West, but in creating what the West never imagined. For too long, many nations believed that progress in defense and technology could only be measured by how closely they could replicate Western designs, strategies, and innovations. Yet history has repeatedly shown that imitation may provide temporary gains, but it can never redefine the game. True leadership in defense, in any field, comes not from following trends, but from imagining possibilities that others cannot even conceive. India has embraced this philosophy with unwavering focus, daring to think differently, and in doing so, has rewritten the rules of global defense. The world is accustomed to seeing military advancements emerge from familiar powerhouses. Countries with decades of dominance, massive budgets, and well-established defense industries. They rely on their historical advantage and global reputation, believing that innovation must flow from them. But the future does not belong to those who cling to tradition. It belongs to those who dare to envision what seems impossible and then turn that vision into reality. India has demonstrated that true strategic advantage lies in original thinking, in challenging conventional wisdom, and in creating systems that the world did not see coming. Consider the development of missile technologies, supersonic weapons, and indigenous fighter jets. India did not simply seek to match existing Western models. It focused on developing solutions that addressed its unique challenges, geographical realities, and strategic needs. By doing so, it has created capabilities that are often faster, more precise, and more adaptable than those designed in countries with larger budgets. This is not a story of imitation. It is a story of imagination, perseverance, and courage. It is the story of a nation that understands that innovation is the true currency of global defense. Creating what the West never imagined requires more than just technical skill. It requires a mindset that values vision over convention, foresight over immediate recognition, and boldness over complacency. It demands collaboration between engineers, scientists, and strategists who refuse to accept limitations imposed by history or existing frameworks. India's approach exemplifies this philosophy, combining deep technical expertise with the audacity to dream beyond the constraints of precedent. The result is a series of defense systems and technologies that have consistently surprised the world, proving that imagination, when paired with execution, can surpass sheer resources or legacy power. Moreover, this philosophy is reshaping global perceptions of defense. Countries that once underestimated India now watch with a mix of respect and astonishment. The realization is clear. The future of military power will not belong to those who repeat the past, but to those who redefine the possibilities of the present. By creating what the West never imagined, India has shifted the narrative from reactive defense to proactive innovation, establishing itself as a leader whose influence will only grow in the decades to come. Ultimately, the lesson is universal. Progress is never achieved by imitation. It is achieved by courage, creativity, and the willingness to challenge the limits of what is believed possible. India's approach to defense embodies this lesson fully. It is not following the West. It is leading the world into uncharted territory, proving that imagination, strategy, and determination will always outpace mere replication. The future belongs to those who build what no one else dares to envision, and India has taken its place firmly at the forefront of that future. America has always expected competition from Europe and China, but it never expected India to arrive this strong. For decades, global powers measured their benchmarks against familiar rivals. Europe, with its technological sophistication, industrial base, and centuries of geopolitical influence, and China, with its rapid economic expansion, massive workforce, and relentless pursuit of global dominance, were always considered the primary contenders. India, despite its size, population, and growing economy, was often overlooked, underestimated, and assumed to be a follower rather than a force to be reckoned with. But history has a way of surprising those who are complacent, and India has quietly, yet decisively, emerged as a power that cannot be ignored. The world's perception of India was shaped by assumptions rooted in the past. America expected India to lag behind in technology, defense, and innovation, to rely on imports, and to move cautiously while other nations led the way. What the world did not anticipate, however, was India's ability to combine vision with discipline, tradition with innovation, and resilience with bold ambition. The strength of India did not happen overnight. It was forged over decades of challenges, from post-independence economic constraints to technological embargoes, from regional conflicts to global skepticism. Every obstacle became a lesson, every delay an opportunity to innovate, and every setback a reason to become stronger. India's rise has taken many forms, and it is this multifaceted growth that has surprised the world. In the field of defense, India has moved from being a buyer to a creator, developing missiles, submarines, fighter jets, and advanced technology that rival the most advanced systems globally. In technology, India has built a knowledge economy that powers multinational companies and fosters startups capable of world-changing innovations. In diplomacy, India has positioned itself as a decisive player on the global stage, forging alliances and partnerships that amplify its influence. These achievements are not just milestones. They are statements that India will not be underestimated. What makes India's rise even more striking is the way it has done so on its own terms. While America anticipated competition in familiar formats, large armies, mass production, and conventional power displays, India has chosen innovation, strategy, and precision. It has focused on quality over quantity, agility over predictability, and self-reliance over dependence. This approach has left even seasoned analysts in shock, forcing a reevaluation of how global power dynamics are defined. The arrival of India as a strong, independent, and capable nation challenges long-held assumptions about who can compete on the world stage. It serves as a reminder that underestimated nations often possess the most potential for transformation. America, accustomed to predictable rivals, has been forced to acknowledge a new reality. India is not only here, but it is here to lead, to innovate, and to set the agenda in ways that were never anticipated. Ultimately, the lesson is clear: the strength of a nation is not measured by expectations others have of it, but by the vision, courage, and persistence it cultivates quietly until the world can no longer ignore its presence. India's arrival has been a revelation, a powerful testament that true strength often comes from the unexpected, and the world is now witnessing the rise of a nation that has exceeded every prediction, defied every stereotype, and arrived stronger than anyone imagined. Innovation is not about size, it is about courage, discipline, and the ability to see what others are blind to. In a world where many equate power and progress with sheer scale, it is easy to overlook the true essence of innovation. Large budgets, massive factories, and armies of engineers may create volume, but they do not guarantee originality, impact, or vision. Real innovation comes from the mind that dares to imagine, the hands that tirelessly execute, and the discipline to turn seemingly impossible ideas into reality. India's rise in the global defense and technology arena exemplifies this principle perfectly. Despite not always having the largest resources, India has leveraged its ingenuity, determination, and insight to produce world-class systems that leave even the most advanced nations astonished. Courage is the foundation of innovation. It is the willingness to challenge conventional thinking, to take risks when failure is possible, and to pursue paths that others are too timid to explore. India's engineers, scientists, and strategists have consistently demonstrated this courage. They have asked questions no one dared ask, experimented with solutions no one believed possible, and pursued projects that demanded patience, precision, and resilience. From missile systems to space programs, India has shown that boldness is not reckless. It is calculated, guided by vision, and anchored in knowledge. Courage, paired with insight, enables a nation to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to recognize potential where others see limits. Discipline is equally critical. Ideas alone cannot change the world, execution does. Innovation requires focus, consistency, and a rigorous commitment to excellence. India's success in creating cutting-edge defense technologies is a testament to its disciplined approach. Behind every missile, fighter jet, and submarine lies years of meticulous research, relentless testing, and a refusal to compromise standards. Discipline transforms vision into tangible results, ensuring that courage does not become recklessness and that creativity does not remain abstract. It is the quiet, persistent work behind the scenes that turns imagination into a weapon, a solution, or a breakthrough. Finally, innovation demands the ability to see what others are blind to. While many nations focus on incremental improvements or replicate existing technologies, India has often looked beyond the obvious. It identifies gaps, anticipates threats, and envisions solutions before the world even realizes the need. This ability to perceive opportunities and challenges differently has allowed India to produce technologies that surprise and redefine global expectations. Innovation is not merely responding to the present, it is anticipating the future, designing systems that shape outcomes, and thinking strategically in ways that others cannot. Ultimately, India's journey demonstrates that true innovation is not measured by size, wealth, or immediate recognition. It is measured by vision, courage, discipline, and insight. A small team with focus, creativity, and determination can achieve what large powers cannot. The lesson is universal no matter the limitations. Those who dare to see differently, act boldly, and work relentlessly will always surpass those who rely solely on scale. In this light, India's rise is more than a story of technological achievement. It is a story of how courage, discipline, and perspective can turn imagination into unmatched power, leaving the world not just impressed, but fundamentally transformed in the way it perceives possibility. India's weapons are not just machines, they are statements of independence, resilience, and vision. Every missile, fighter jet, submarine, or advanced defense system that emerges from India tells a story far larger than its technical specifications. These weapons are the embodiment of a nation that refuses to rely solely on others, a country that has chosen self-reliance as its guiding principle in the pursuit of security, sovereignty, and global influence. They are a reflection of a philosophy that understands that true strength is measured not by dependence, but by the ability to create, innovate, and protect one's own destiny. Independence is at the core of India's approach. For decades, global powers assumed that India would depend on imported technologies, that it would remain reliant on foreign nations for critical defense capabilities. Yet India has charted a different path. By investing in indigenous research, manufacturing, and strategic planning, the country has built systems that it can control entirely, from design to deployment. This independence is not merely logistical, it is psychological and strategic. It communicates to the world that India does not wait for permission, that it is capable of shaping its own security environment, and that it possesses the foresight to anticipate threats and act decisively. Every weapon that India develops signals a refusal to be constrained, a determination to stand on its own, and a commitment to protecting its interests without compromise. Resilience is equally evident in India's defense capabilities. These weapons are the product of decades of challenges, from limited resources and geopolitical pressures to technology restrictions and global skepticism. India has faced obstacles that could have delayed progress indefinitely, yet it persevered. Engineers, scientists, and strategists have worked tirelessly, often in silence, transforming setbacks into opportunities for improvement and innovation. Each successful launch, each operational system, is a testament to a relentless determination to overcome adversity. India's resilience is not about reacting to external pressures alone. It is about proactively building systems that anticipate challenges, adapt to evolving threats, and endure under the most demanding conditions. The weapons themselves become symbols of this unyielding spirit. Finally, vision drives India's weapons programs. Every innovation reflects not only current strategic requirements, but also foresight into future conflicts, technologies, and global dynamics. India's systems are designed not to meet yesterday's challenges, but to define the strategic landscape of tomorrow. This vision ensures that India's capabilities are not static, they evolve, improve, and set benchmarks for global standards. They are not just tools of defense. They are instruments of influence, signaling India's readiness to assert its presence, contribute to global security, and inspire confidence both domestically and internationally. In essence, India's weapons carry meaning far beyond their mechanical functions. They are statements, declarations of a nation's independence, proof of its resilience, and reflections of its vision. Each system is a message to the world that India has arrived as a confident, capable, and forward-looking power. The weapons speak louder than words because they embody the principles that define India itself: self-reliance, perseverance, and foresight. In every launch, every deployment, and every innovation, India demonstrates that true strength is not measured merely in destructive capability, but in the courage, persistence, and intelligence behind its creation. These weapons are not just machines. They are the living testimony of a nation shaping its destiny, commanding respect, and leaving the world in awe of what it has achieved. The shock is not that India made weapons. The shock is that India made them smarter, faster, and deadlier in silence. Many nations are capable of producing military hardware when resources, technology, and manpower are abundant. But creating weapons that combine cutting-edge intelligence, speed, and precision requires more than mere capability. It requires vision, strategic thinking, and a culture of relentless innovation. India has done all of this quietly, without fanfare, without seeking validation from global powers, and without relying on constant recognition. This is what truly astonishes the world. A nation that has not only arrived in the field of defense, but has done so in a way that exceeds expectations at every level. Smarter weapons mean systems designed not just for raw power, but for strategic effectiveness. India has invested heavily in technologies that incorporate advanced targeting, precision guidance, and adaptive defense mechanisms. Missiles can maneuver to evade interception, aircraft are equipped with systems that optimize response in real time, and naval vessels integrate sophisticated tracking and communication tools. These weapons do more than function. They think, anticipate, and execute missions with intelligence that surprises even experienced adversaries. The brilliance lies not only in the engineering, but in the strategic foresight that ensures these systems are ready for challenges no one else had considered. Faster weapons highlight India's ability to respond decisively. Speed in modern warfare is more than just velocity. It is the capacity to act before an opponent can react, to project power instantly, and to maintain an edge in situations where hesitation could be fatal. India's missile programs, fighter jets, and emerging hypersonic technologies are designed with this principle in mind. They reduce response times, increase maneuverability, and provide the nation with the ability to operate decisively under pressure. By achieving such speed while maintaining precision, India demonstrates a mastery of the balance between agility and control, an achievement that leaves global observers both impressed and apprehensive. Deadlier weapons underscore India's commitment to effectiveness and deterrence. It is not enough to possess advanced systems. They must be capable of delivering results when it matters most. India has focused on creating technologies that maximize impact while minimizing vulnerabilities. Each system is tested rigorously, improved continuously, and adapted to meet evolving threats. This deadly efficiency ensures that India's defense posture is not just credible, but formidable, a reality that commands respect on the global stage. What amplifies the shock even further is that all of this has been done in silence. India did not announce every project, parade every prototype, or seek global approval before acting. The nation understood that true strength is revealed not in words, but in results. By moving quietly, India has maintained strategic surprise, leaving the world to wonder how a country previously underestimated could achieve so much with such precision, speed, and intelligence. Ultimately, the shock is not merely technological, it is strategic, psychological, and cultural. India has proven that strength is not always loud, that innovation does not require constant validation, and that a disciplined, visionary approach can transform a nation from an observer into a global leader. The world is not just witnessing India's weapons. It is witnessing a masterclass in how courage, foresight, and quiet determination can redefine expectations, reshape power, and leave even the most experienced observers speechless. The world is not asking, "Can India defend itself?" anymore. The question now is, who will defend themselves from India? For decades, India's position on the global stage was defined by doubt and underestimation. Observers questioned its technological capabilities, its strategic foresight, and its ability to secure its own borders against emerging threats. Defense systems were seen as reactive, often reliant on foreign technology, and constrained by resource limitations. Today, that narrative has shifted entirely. India has moved from being perceived as a nation that must be defended to being a nation that commands attention, respect, and caution from the world. The shift is profound, and it signals the arrival of India as a decisive force in global security and defense. This transformation is not accidental. It is the result of decades of strategic planning, focused innovation, and unwavering determination. India has invested not only in hardware, but in the intellectual and technological infrastructure necessary to anticipate and counter threats before they materialize. From missile programs like Agni-V and BrahMos to nuclear submarines like INS Arihant, India has demonstrated that it can project power far beyond its borders. These systems are not merely defensive. They are deterrents, statements of capability, and evidence that India now defines its own rules of engagement. Countries that once viewed India as a passive player are now reconsidering their assumptions, understanding that the balance of power has shifted. The question has changed because India has transformed its approach from reaction to initiative. For years, nations waited to see how India would respond to challenges, conflicts, and technological gaps. Now, India sets the standard. Its defense innovations are proactive, anticipating threats before they occur, and often surpassing what rivals thought was possible. This ability to act decisively and strategically has created a psychological shift in global perception. No longer is India simply defending its borders. It is shaping the environment in which defense is measured, forcing others to reconsider how they plan, respond, and compete. India's rise in defense capability is also a reflection of broader national resilience and vision. The weapons systems and strategies developed are not just technological marvels. They are embodiments of a philosophy that prizes independence, foresight, and self-reliance. By building capabilities that the world did not expect, India has changed the fundamental question from vulnerability to influence. The nations that once doubted India must now ask how they can navigate a world in which India is a central, decisive, and powerful actor. Ultimately, this shift is more than military, it is symbolic. It is a statement that India is no longer a passive participant in global affairs. It is a nation capable of defending itself, projecting strength, and commanding strategic respect. The world has moved past the question of India's capability to defend. It now faces the challenge of understanding India's ability to lead, innovate, and redefine the rules of power. The transformation is complete. India is no longer merely defending its present, it is shaping the future, compelling the world to acknowledge that the true question is not whether India can defend itself, but who can hope to defend themselves in the presence of India's rising strength.